Sorry everybody, it's Xilicks here, and welcome back to week 3 of the Baby League. This week we are facing off against Aaron 2420 and his Calgary Infernapes. You guys may know him as a GBA analyst and now also a GBA D-League coach. He's also in plenty of other draft leagues, so if you'd like to check out some more draft league content, I recommend going to his channel, seeing what he has. You may enjoy it. So let's talk about this battle. Now, going into this battle, I was a little bit scared because one of my strategies so far has been outspeeding my opponent and overpowering them with things like Staryu and Tyrant. Now, this team actually has quite a hefty amount of speed. So, for example, we see that Xilicks on the screen. That has the Unburden ability. We see the Rufflet that can be run Choice Scarf and outspeed my Tyrants. The Torchic has speed boost. The Metatite has access to Bullet Punch, Fake Out, other forms of priority. So I knew going into this battle that it would be a rough one for my normal strategy, but I did kind of have a couple tricks up my sleeve. So first off, let's talk about everything that he could have brought. So first up, he has the Torchic, which is a Z user. Then he also has Xilicks, Chinchou, Metatite, Rufflet, the other Z user, Turtwig, Aron, Mudbray, Yamask, and Dano. Okay, so whenever I was looking at this team, I didn't really expect Dano because it's pretty slow, so it would easily be able to be beat by like Tyrant, Staryu, Flobebe even. So I didn't think that would be brought. I thought maybe the Yamask might be brought, but I didn't really expect it too much just because I have like knockoff from Scraggy and Crunch from Tyrant, which do a lot of damage to it. I pretty much knew the Mudbray was going to be brought, which it was. I thought Turtwig may have been brought with like an Assault Vest or something, or like a Yachi Berry, but no, we didn't see that. Then there is the Rufflet, which did get brought, Metatite, Chinchou, Xilicks, and Torchic all also got brought. So this is pretty much what I was expecting. There may have been a switch or two that I would have imagined, but the big thing here is what my team is looking like. So the first mod I want to talk about is Staryu. Now, Staryu has an incredibly good matchup against his team because nothing can switch in. And this has been a trend for a lot of the coaches we've faced so far, but especially here because I'm running Hidden Power Ground to hit that Chinchou. Now, the reason for that is I predicted maybe he would run Rendo Berry because if I was running Hidden Power Grass, it would hit both Mudbray and Chinchou, and because I have to play around Chinchou's ability of either being Volt Absorb or Water Absorb, then he may have thought, okay, well, he's probably going to bring HP Grass, so that way he can freely click HP Grass without having to worry about it. But no, I'm running HP Ground, so if he is running Rendo Berry, I'll be able to deal with that nicely. I also have the Ice Beam to hit things like the Rufflet, Surf to hit pretty much everything else on his team, and then Flash Cannon for that Xilicks. Next up, I have my Scraggy. Scraggy's running a Dragon Dance set this week. If I can get to +1 or +2, I kill and outspeed everything on his team, barring the Mudbray, so we do need a little bit of extra damage on that. I am running the Moxie ability, though, so if I am able to get a kill, then it hopefully will snowball in my favor. Next up, I have my Honedge running the Colbur Berry. The Colbur Berry was to deal with like potential knockoffs and stuff, although I don't think I really should have ran Colbur Berry this week. I think I could have been better off with a different item, but I decided on the Colbur Berry just because I was like, hey, you know, it might come in handy if he tries to go for like a knockoff, or if that Dano was brought, I could take a hit from that and then try to do some damage back to it, running physically defensive on that. Then I have my Flobebe also running physically defensive just because of our high natural special bulk, with the leftovers Moonblast, Giga Drain, Wish, and Aromatherapy. So hopefully Flobebe will help me out against things like the Torchic if it's special and the Chinchou. Then I have Tyrant, Choice Scarf as usual with Outrage, Crunch, Ice Fang, and Rock Slide. I debated for a long time whether or not I should bring Outrage just because he had the Xilicks. I knew the Xilicks was going to get brought, but I figured I might as well run the Outrage because I didn't want to regret not having it. So that is that with the Strong Jaw ability to power up that Ice Fang. Then I have my Cubone. Now, Cubone, I'm running an interesting set. I'm actually Assault Vest with max special defense. Now, the reason for this was I was kind of afraid of a special Torchic, and I wanted to have multiple responses to it. So this Cubone is Assault Vested with Earthquake, Rock Slide, Knockoff, and Ice Beam. Ice Beam just because it does more damage to Mudbray, and I think it also does more damage to Rufflet as well. So yeah, that is my team. The big worries I have is if Torchic gets set up in any way, shape, or form, because that thing is a Z user, so it could catch some things off guard. And also, I have to deal with that Mudbray. So, without any further ado, let's get into the battle. Alright, so taking a look at what he led with, he chose to lead with his Mudbray, which is going to be fantastic for me because I did decide to lead with my Staryu. I thought about this lead for a long time and kind of picked it last second, and here I am going to predict him to switch out. A bit of a risky play on the first move, but I do get it correct, predicting that Chinchou, and I'm going to absolutely destroy this thing with a hidden power ground. This was a great start to the battle, really worked out in my favor, because this thing, I needed to weaken it so Staryu can just click Surf. And with this thing basically dead and gone, I have free reigns of clicking Surf. Now, the big problem is potential Choice Scarf users and also that Torchic, if he's able to get the +1 speed, he'll be able to outspeed. So here, he brings out his Rufflet, which is basically confirming that he's Choice Scarfed, unless he wanted to take a Surf to the face. So I am going to switch here, but he's going to predict that in double. I thought he may have U-turned, so I believe I switch into my Honedge here, which is, or actually, I think I switch into Tyrant. Yeah, I do switch into Tyrant, because I was predicting potential of a U-turn, or just a flying move, either of which I would have resisted nicely. And here is why this Mudbray is so annoying. Because it has the stamina ability, I'm not going to be able to 2-hit KO it with Ice Fang. And because I'm running the Choice Scarf instead of potentially like a Choice Band or a Life Orb or like even Expert Belt, I'm not going to be able to 2-hit KO this thing, which is kind of annoying. Had I clicked Outrage, I would have been able to 2-hit KO, but then that just gives him a free switch in his Xilicks. And I'm in a position where I have nothing that can switch into an Earthquake, so I'm just going to sit here and continue clicking Ice Fang. Now here, he rests, and I'm thinking, okay, this is great, because now I can switch out, I can go into Staryu, get momentum with that, or I can go into like Flabebe to get rid of this Toxic on me, but he has a Chest of Berry. So again, it puts me in this position where I can't really switch comfortably, and I kind of just have to let my Tyrant go down. If I can score a crit, which, you know, I'm not really hoping for, but there is the option to either crit or freeze him. I don't think Ice Fang has a flinch chance. I know some of the Fang moves do, but I don't think Ice Fang does in particular. But he does get a Stealth Rocks up here, so this could have been my opportunity to switch, but alas, it wasn't. And then I believe on this turn is where he goes for the Earthquake. I might be wrong, but yeah, I was kind of just accepting that my Tyrant would go down here, and it is what it is. I probably should have switched out initially whenever he went for Toxic, but I didn't necessarily know, one, that he was going to have the rest, and two, that he was going to spend so many turns before Earthquaking, because obviously had I known, I would have been able to take advantage of that. But here, I can bring in my Staryu, and his Xilicks is actually going to survive a Life Orb Analytic Surf, which kind of blew my mind. I have no idea how he lived this, like, actually no idea how he lived this. Barely anything. And he's gonna pop that Citrus Berry, and because I see Citrus Berry, I'm thinking that he's Belly Drum, right? I'm thinking in my head, there's no way that he is any other set but Belly Drum. And here, I'm expecting a Play Rough. We see a Dazzling Gleam, so that means he's special. And special Xilicks I'm okay with because I have a switch into that, being my Flabebe. But the problem here, special sets typically run Sticky Webs. Now, if he get the webs up, he wins the game. Like, he actually just wins the game if he gets Sticky Webs up. So I need to try to prevent that as much as I possibly can. But no, he is going to get those Sticky Webs up. I did not bring a Defogger. I did not bring Rapid Spin. I have no way of getting rid of these webs. He probably knows that. And this is a really poor spot for me to be in. Now, I am going to go for a Wish here, just so I can get some recovery. If he tries to switch, then I get some free damage off on something, which is nice. But no, he's going to stay in. I am going to get this Moonblast off, as well as the recovery following this, and it will put me at a decent amount of health to still potentially be a switch in to some things later on. Now, I'm really worried about these sticky webs because my Staryu now gets outsped by basically everything. My Scraggy needs to get like +3 to have a chance at outspeeding and winning because there is a Choice Scarf user. Now, here he brings in Meditite and he goes for a substitute. I'm so glad I did not switch. I considered going Honedge, but I thought to myself, like, no, I should probably just stay in because, like, if he knocks out Flabebe here, it's not the end of the world because I really no longer have switch-ins at this point, and I can no longer apply offensive pressure due to the sticky webs. So the sticky webs were just such a good bring. It really messed me up. He's going to go for the poison jab here, and this thing's an absolute monster. It's just going to totally straight up OHKO me, despite being max HP, max defense. This thing with its pure power and not even stab, but super effective poison jab is going to be enough to take down my full Bebe. Now, I will be able to bring in Honedge here, and Honedge is extremely defensive, so I should be able to take one hit, including a super effective hit. I was hoping maybe he would have a dark move because I am running the Cobra Berry. I considered running the Aqua Berry, but after doing the Calcs, Torchic still kills me from a decent range with a lot of fire attacks, so I didn't really find it worth running the Aqua Berry. Had I had the Aqua Berry, though, it would have put me at a higher amount of health here, but it doesn't really matter because I am going to survive and knock this thing out with 2 Shadow Sneaks. Luckily, I was able to knock this thing out because if this thing survived that Shadow Sneak, I would have been in a pretty rough spot. So with that thing down, I'm feeling a little bit better, but now I've essentially lost my Honedge, which was my switch into this thing. Honedge was the only thing that could reliably take hits from Rufflet. I actually do not think Rufflet has any way of dealing damage to me. I don't know if it learns Earthquake or not. I know it gets Superpower, but I'm Ghost type, and obviously immune to normal, resisting flying. But he was able to weaken me to the point where he could knock me out with an Aerial Ace. And if I'm a really defensive Cubone, which I'm not, but if I am, he may think that and try to, like, switch out, which he does switch out into his Mudbray. I get the Ice Beam off, which is really weird seeing this thing go for an Ice Beam. It does a decent amount of damage, unfortunately not enough to the point where I'm super satisfied. But something I actually want to take advantage of here is I'm thinking he might go for the rest. And if he does go for the rest, this is my chance to set up some Dragon Dances. I need to get to +3 to win this game. If I'm at +2, I get outsped by Rufflet. If I'm at +3, I outspeed, and I can potentially win the game. However, he Toxics me here. Now, what I wanted to happen was I wanted him to rest first, because then I could get up the Dragon Dances. If he was a smart player, if he rested first, I go into this thing, I get up 1 Dragon Dance. If he goes hard Rufflet, he can't lose. If he tries not to go hard Rufflet, then I could have won the game. But I am going to get 1 Dragon Dance off, so I'm now at neutral speed +1 attack, but this Toxic is starting to rack up. And I know he's going to wake up at any point, and I'm running the Calc with my HP investment. His Earthquake does just shy of 50%. I believe there's a rule where it does a little bit over 50%. And I don't want to be in a position. So, okay, if he wakes up right here and he goes for an Earthquake, I die. So I kind of was like, okay, I need to Drain Punch to get the health back. I do actually knock him out with that Drain Punch. I believe this was also a rule depending on his setup, because it would have been a +1 Drain Punch because he already had 1 stamina boost previously, and I don't think +1 Drain Punch kills. I am adamant, so depending on how much defense he was running, it may have killed, but because I was not able to get to +3, the Rufflet's going to come in, and this confirms that he is Choice Scarf. He's going to knock me out with an Aerial Ace. Now, even with him knocking me out, if he's like some weird spread and his Torchic is special, I could win the game, but I've kind of lost hope at this point. As I mentioned at the start, I am Assault Vested here, so if his Torchic is a special set, which we're not going to find out if he is or not, because this Aerial Ace is going to do a ton of damage, despite how naturally bulky I am. With no defensive investment, though, it does quite a lot. And my Ice Beam is not even doing half, so I won't even be able to knock this thing out. He is going to take me down with the... Oh, actually, I'm going to live on 1. But it doesn't matter because the Ice Beam is not going to be enough to kill him. I would have had to freeze him on the first Ice Beam and then, like, pray that his Torchic was special. Actually, I think even if his Torchic was physical, if he didn't use a Z move, he might not have knocked me out. But regardless, that's relying on hacks. He had the great bring of sticky webs. I honestly did not expect sticky webs. I was just so fixated on the belly drum set, and it was enough. It was enough to slow me down to the point where I'm going to lose the game. So GG to Aaron. He is a pretty good battler. I highly recommend checking out his videos. I'm glad, though, that this is my first loss in a while, because another league I'm in, I was on a pretty big win streak, and then in this league I won my past 2 games. However, I'm glad that my loss was to a game like this, where I did not get hacks, I did not get anything that I felt was unfair. You know, he just had sticky webs, and that was enough to beat me, you know? So I'm okay with that kind of loss, because I've been kind of worrying in my head for a while that I was going to lose my first game in a really long time to some really annoying hacks. Fortunately, though, that was not the case. So once again, make sure to go check them out, and this is only more motivation for me to win next week. So if you guys are excited for the Baby League, make sure to leave a thumbs up, check out all of the other coaches to see the rest of the battles from this week, and I will see you guys next week. Okay, thanks, bye.